Tonight, 3 suspects are in custody in an alleged terror case, but officials say there are more out there and may be planning an attack, possibly against New York. I'm Katie Couric. Also tonight, the U.S. commander in Afghanistan warns the war could be lost without more troops. And Pakistan's foreign minister says the United States must stay the course.
You went in. You cannot leave without doing the job.
How many doses of the H1N1 flu vaccine will children need? What the first test results show. And when the men of the world line up by seniority, he'll be number 1.
This is the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
Good evening, everyone. Law enforcement sources are telling us the hunt is on tonight for as many as a dozen more people who may be involved in a terror plot against the United States, with New York City a possible target. This follows the weekend arrest of 3 men, including Najibullah Zazi. Agents have been following his every move for months. Justice correspondent Bob Orr and our chief investigative correspondent Armin Katayan are following the story. First, Armin, here in New York. I know the 3 suspects, Armin, were in court today, but so far they haven't been charged with terrorism. So what's going on?
Well, Katie, not terrorism, at least not yet. All 3 suspects were in federal court today, 1 here in Brooklyn, 2 others out in Colorado, all facing charges that they lied to federal agents as new details emerged in the case. The primary suspect, 24-year-old Najibullah Zazi, and his father Mohammed appeared in handcuffs and will be held until a detention hearing on Thursday, when the father is expected to be released to home detention. The third man, Ahmad Wais Afzali, was held without bail in New York. All are facing charges of knowingly making false statements to FBI agents in a matter involving international and domestic terrorism. CBS News has learned informants inside training camps in Pakistan have told authorities they saw the younger Zazi in an al-Qaeda training camp like this during his admitted travels to the tribal regions of Pakistan in the summer of 2008. According to a complaint filed in the case, Zazi received instruction from al-Qaeda operatives on weapons and explosives.
Having him in custody is enormously beneficial from this perspective. You know, being able to say, who else have you met with?
Back in New York, the 37-year-old Afzali, a local imam or religious leader, is accused of essentially tipping off Zazi and his father about the FBI's interest in their activities. Afzali's lawyer denied his client has lied to authorities, instead insisting as a longtime source of information for the police, he was actually trying to help authorities.
They begged him to find out anything he could about Najibullah Zazi, where he was, who he was with, what he was doing.
CBS News has now learned that despite the arrest, there remains deep concern the government may have only partially disrupted a terror plot. Armin Katayan reporting from the federal courthouse in Brooklyn, New York.
This is Bob Orr in Washington. Law enforcement sources say Najibullah Zazi was at the center of a plot to use homemade explosives against 1 or more terror targets in New York. Now the FBI is pressing an urgent search for a core group of 9 to 12 other people associated with Zazi, who may have knowledge of his plans. Sources say while some potential suspects have been interviewed and cleared, other names continue to surface as the FBI tries to fully understand Zazi's intentions. Officials have not confirmed any specific targets, but sources say the plot may have focused on mass transit, a favorite al-Qaeda target. A cell phone video found in Zazi's possession shows scenes of Grand Central Terminal and the discovery of 9 new backpacks and some cell phones during those raids in Queens suggests an attack similar to the 2004 bombings of trains in Madrid, in which cell phones were used to trigger backpacks filled with explosives. But most compelling to investigators is a file found on Zazi's computer. 9 pages of handwritten notes detailing how to build hydrogen peroxide and acetone bombs. Zazi carried that information, apparently received at that al-Qaeda training camp in Pakistan, on last week's visit to friends in New York.
While Zazi denies he's a terrorist or connected in any way to any plot, he is expected to be hit soon with more serious terrorism charges. And sources say other arrests are almost certain. Katie?
Bob Orr in Washington tonight. Thank you, Bob. Now to what President Obama calls the central front in the war on terror, Afghanistan. The top U.S. general there says time is running out if the war is to be won. That assessment is in a top-secret report obtained today by the Washington Post. As our David Martin first reported, the commander says he needs tens of thousands of additional troops to get the job done.
After 8 years of fighting, it has come to this. The American commander in Afghanistan, General Stanley McChrystal, has told the president without more troops in the next 12 months, the war could be lost. A grim assessment from a commander who, in front of a 60 Minutes camera, told his senior aides the reinforcements President Obama has already sent have only made a slight impact on the level of violence.
I do think that we probably have bottomed out in terms of that. And it might be that we're starting to turn that, particularly in the South.
McChrystal's assessment, submitted 5 days after that meeting, says the Taliban insurgency is resilient and growing, and the Afghan government shot through with widespread corruption and abuse of power. As for U.S. and allied forces, an over-reliance on firepower has killed too many civilians and severely damaged their legitimacy in the eyes of the Afghan people.
This assessment is stark in every sense of the term.
CBS News consultant Juan Zarate says McChrystal is calling for a whole new level of commitment to Afghanistan.
President Obama's field commander, General McChrystal, is saying that we need more resources, we need more troops, and we need to do it now.
Although President Bush frequently boasted he gave his field commanders whatever they needed, this president has clearly signaled he is not about to rubber stamp McChrystal's request, which is expected to number tens of thousands more troops.
We're not going to put the cart before the horse and just think by sending more troops we're automatically going to make Americans safe.
McChrystal himself warns more troops won't work without, in his words, a dramatic change in how we operate, so that protecting the people becomes more important than killing the enemy. David Martin, CBS News, The Pentagon.
The Taliban and al-Qaeda don't just operate in Afghanistan. They're constantly moving in and out of Pakistan, where that country's military is locked in a fierce battle against them. Today, I spoke exclusively with Pakistan's Foreign Minister Makhdoom Qureshi about General McChrystal's request. Do you think that more American troops would be helpful to Afghanistan and to Pakistan?
What we have done in the last 1 year, in our opinion, our side of the border is being far better managed. Today, we have the terrorists on the run.
How so?
Because today, the local population in the tribal belt has risen against them. They are, for the first time, moving along with the troops, searching for them. But there is a problem we are facing, and the problem is that there's a constant flow of weapons into Pakistan. Where are they coming from? They're coming from across the border.
What would happen, in your view, if the U.S. pulled out?
Oh, there'll be chaos. You know, you went in, you cannot leave without doing the job.
Many countries have. It's called the graveyard of empires for a reason.
Yes, but look at the results then. Look what happened. Then you have 9/11s, right? And then you have, you know, these militants knocking on your door. Do you want that? No. The world global economy will get affected. Do we want that? No.
A recent Gallup poll shows that 59% of Pakistanis regard the U.S. as the greatest threat to the country. 67% oppose U.S. drone attacks against the Taliban and al-Qaeda. Why is there such public opposition in your country?
There are two issues why there's opposition to the drones. One is the issue of sovereignty, and the other is collateral damage. That is why what Pakistan is saying, transfer the technology to us, give us the ownership, and we can use this technology for the purpose that you want it to be used for.
I think the United States military worries that that technology will get into the hands of the wrong people if they're too relaxed about giving it to your country.
We are sort of your allies, and we have been your allies for a very, very long time. This relationship can only be built on trust and confidence. So if you lack trust and confidence, where are we going? Today, there is a consensus in Pakistan that these guys, the Taliban, and their value system is threatening what we believe in. We have to fight them, not for you. We have to fight them for ourselves.
How is anti-American sentiment right now in Pakistan?
I think you have failed in public diplomacy. You have not reaped sort of the rewards of what you have given.
Isn't sending billions of dollars in aid to Pakistan, though, a pretty powerful message to the Pakistani people?
You see, giving money is one thing, but cultivating the people is something totally different. President Obama is now reaching out to the Muslim world. Why is he doing that? Because he realizes that the strategy of the past was not working.
Beginning next month, the CBS Evening News will take an extensive look at the situation in Afghanistan. We'll have reports from the battlefield and the countryside in our series, Afghanistan, The Road Ahead. President Obama, meanwhile, talked about Afghanistan and a lot more in an interview taped here in New York this afternoon for tonight's Late Show with David Letterman. Here's Chief White House Correspondent Chip Reed.
The lighthearted mood turned serious when the president talked about agonizing over whether to send more troops to Afghanistan.
And I'm answerable to their parents, and if they don't come back, I've got to write a letter to them saying that their child has sacrificed on behalf of America.
He then shifted to another issue of life and death, health care reform.
Your premiums last year alone went up 5.5%.
A continuation of the media blitz that reached its peak yesterday with 5 highly repetitive interviews.
Healthcare premiums went up 5.5%.
On the Sunday talk shows.
5.5%, 5.5%.
The White House says they're not at all worried about repetition or overexposure. They want as many eyes watching the president as they can get. He put himself in a very exclusive club.
Whether it was FDR or Ronald Reagan.
Of presidents who pushed for big change and inspired passionate criticism.
We saw during FDR, we saw during Ronald Reagan, the things that were said about FDR are pretty similar to the things that were said about me.
He blamed the media for whipping up controversy.
So the easiest way to get on television right now is to be really rude, is to be rude to somebody.
Especially on the issue of race.
This is catnip to the media.
But on Letterman today, when asked about Jimmy Carter's assertion that President Obama's critics are racist, the president opted for comedy.
First of all, I think it's important to realize that I was actually black before the election.
Tomorrow, the president gives his healthcare media blitz a rest as he turns his attention to a 3-day summit at the United Nations. Katie?
Chip Reed here in New York City tonight. Thank you, Chip. Coming up next here on the CBS Evening News, the H1N1 flu vaccine. Will your child need 1 shot or 2? The government has been testing the H1N1 flu vaccine on children, and the early results came out today. The vaccine appears to be safe, and for some older kids, it's a one-shot deal. Dr. Jennifer Ashton is here to tell us more. And Jennifer, first of all, how do we all know for sure that this is safe?
Well, first of all, Katie, it's being made exactly the same way as the seasonal flu vaccine. And of the approximately 600 children or so that were enrolled in the clinical trials, the NIH reported today that there have been no adverse effects. So good news.
All right. And how many doses will a child need?
Well, early results show that for children aged 6 months to 9 years of age, 2 doses will be needed. But for children ages 10 to 17, it looks like 1 dose will work, which is exactly the same as for adults.
All right. Now, you can get a regular flu vaccine in the form of a spray or in the form of a shot. Is that true for H1N1 as well?
It is. And in fact, of the 3.4 million vaccine doses that will be delivered in early October, it looks like they will all be in spray form.
So how do you decide, though, between spray and shot form?
Well, the spray is okay for children ages 2 and up who are healthy and should not be given to children with asthma or underlying medical conditions. And also, it should be remembered that there can be side effects. So the spray can cause fever and wheezing, but the shot can also cause redness and some fever as well.
All right, Dr. Jennifer Ashton, thank you so much. And now we have an update on the two 10-year-olds we told you about on Friday. Tony Eslenbaum and Letitia Howard have the H1N1 flu and are fighting for their lives tonight in an Oklahoma City hospital. Tony is improving. Today he came off a machine that did the work of his heart and lungs, but he remains in critical condition. Letitia is still on the machine. She's stable, but also remains in critical condition tonight. When we come back, trapped by rain that just won't stop. It wasn't long ago that parts of the Southeast were in the middle of the worst drought in decades, but now they're getting more water than they can handle. It's another rainy night in Georgia, and the flooding has killed at least 6 people. Here's Mark Strassman.
Come on. Come on, yes, Alan, come on.
Across Atlanta, it was a day of frightening flash flooding and desperate pleas for help. Families like the Thompsons, trapped inside their home until rescue workers saved them.
Yeah, I feel like I'm having an anxiety attack, like really.
Anxiety's rising with floodwaters across much of North Georgia. Rains have been relentless. Some areas have seen 20 inches fall just since Saturday.
I've been here for 35 years and it's never been this high.
Rushing water swept cars off low-lying roads, killing at least 4 people. This man watched his neighbor float off in her minivan.
I couldn't see more than 3 feet in front of me. I mean, it was just a complete chaos, and I can't imagine what she went through, especially in the last moments of her life.
Entire neighborhoods were underwater, leaving lives in ruin.
Most of these people ain't got nothing as it is, and this is all they got. And now they're fixing to lose it because it's all washing away.
It wasn't just Georgia. Near Henderson, North Carolina, the Mud Creek poured over its banks. Bibb County, Alabama saw a foot of rain in 24 hours. Across much of the Southeast, torrential rains canceled school, made commutes impossible, and stranded people like Johnny Roberts. His Jeep disappeared from his driveway.
I came home, I got a missing Jeep.
What do you mean you have a missing Jeep?
It floated down the creek.
Many of those flood victims need relief fast. They won't find it in the forecast. Much of North Georgia is expecting another 4 inches of rain overnight. Mark Strassman, CBS News, Atlanta.
And coming up next, Steve Hartman has a senior moment, and a very special one at that. Assignment America is next. You may remember earlier this year, Steve Hartman introduced us to the oldest man in America. Well, tonight, Steve has an update on him. Don't worry, he's doing just fine. In fact, today is his birthday. Here's the new Monday edition of Assignment America.
Safe to say, no one was happier than the fire marshal, that instead of a candle for every year of Walter Bruning's life, party organizers went with the digits.
There you go, Walter.
Also safe to say that no one was happier to see Walter make it to 113 today than me.
You're Walter, aren't you?
Yes.
I am Steve Hartman.
I know you, Steve.
Although I've tried to forget. You may remember
really.
how shortly after meeting Walter here at his assisted living center in Great Falls, Montana, I made the mistake of asking Walter if he would take his scooter out for a little ride. It seemed like such a lovely, bright spring day.
Hard to see. I'm gone.
Unfortunately, no one told me Walter can't see in the sun.
Hard to see.
Hold on, Walter. Going off the cliff. Walter, what? Oh, wait.
Because Walter survived that scooter incident.
Yeah, let's turn around. We'll go back.
And because of the recent passing of 113-year-old Henry Allingham of England, Walter Bruning is now officially the oldest man in the world. Born in 1896, Walter still remembers his grandpa talking about fighting in the war.
Which war?
The Civil War.
He's the only man left born during the Cleveland administration
When you had no radio.
who can say where he was when McKinley got shot.
That's when I got my first haircut. And there's a school I went to.
Walter went to school under Teddy Roosevelt.
Is that you?
7th grade.
And got his job with the railroad during Taft.
$2.50 a week. How would you like that?
Under Wilson, he signed up to serve in World War I, but never got called. And by the time the Second War rolled around, he was already too old. Walter was married for 35 years, but Agnes has been dead for more than half a century now. They never had any kids, and he never took a second wife.
Second marriages never work. Even first marriages don't work today.
One scoop or two.
Clearly, Walter still has all his marbles. He's not on any medicine and normally watches what he eats. He credits his diet with his being here.
Yeah. And especially if you keep that weight off there.
Keep the weight off.
Keep that weight off there.
Of course, normally, oldest man isn't a title one keeps very long. But Walter Bruning has no plans on giving it up anytime soon.
You'll come back in 4 years or 5 years, I think I'll be here.
Can I have the exclusive interview?
Why, hell, you sure can.
Actually, all Walter has to do is make it another 2 years, 8 months, and 10 days, and he'll be the oldest man ever.
He is extraordinary, and he is so sharp, and his memory is astounding, isn't it?
It is, and the fact that he, doesn't take any medication, I would bet he's going to make it.
I think so.
I'll update you next year.
Thank you. Fingers crossed on that.
Okay.
Tell us about next week.
Okay, next Monday. The story of a Tennessee family that thought their dog had died in a horrible crash. How Ella not only escaped death, but found her way home next Monday night.
Love stories like that, too. Okay, well, welcome to Monday, Steve.
Thank you.
Nice
Good
to
be
see
here.
you. And that is the CBS Evening News for this Monday. I'm Katie Couric. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.